Hi everyone. Welcome to the Dough Fund online computer class. My name is Maggie and I'll be taking you through this first video. This is lesson 1, part 1, understanding the computer environment. If at any point during the video you want to pause to take notes, just do that. Pause, take notes, come back and keep going. To start off with, let's look at the 3 parts that we can break the computer into. We have the hardware. The hardware is the stuff that you can see, feel, and touch, such as the mouse, the keyboard, the monitor, and we'll go into that a little bit more. The software is stuff that you cannot touch. It's inside the computer. And we're thinking of things like Word, Excel, or Paint. These are things like the apps that you have on your phone. And it needs to be updated periodically. You may receive update notifications on your phone because software needs to be updated. And finally, the operating system. The operating system runs the whole computer. You can think about it like the kind of brains behind the operation. Different systems have different operating systems. We have Windows on these computers. It's a very common one. You also might be familiar with Mac OS, which is on Macintosh computers, Android, which runs many of your phones, and iOS, which runs the Apple iPhones. So remember those 3 big buckets, and we'll go through each one in a little bit more detail. So to start with hardware, you might be familiar with some of these components that you see behind me. You might not be. But let's go over the vocabulary. This right here is the monitor. The monitor is the screen that allows you to view what's going on in the computer. Over here you have the system unit. You may have heard it be called a tower or a CPU, but essentially it is the brains behind the computer. It's what does all the running and the computing and makes you able to do anything you can do on a computer. And finally, we've got the keyboard and the mouse. The keyboard allows you to type information into the computer, words, what have you, and the mouse allows you to operate and navigate and click and select and go through to different parts of the computer. Now, this is an important button. This is the power button, universal symbol for turning something on or off. If you look at your computer, you should be able to find this somewhere. The computers in the lab have 2, one on the system unit, which is at the bottom, and one on the monitor. If it's glowing blue like this, it's already on, but if you ever come to a computer and it's not glowing, that's what you're going to push to turn the computer on. Sometimes when you push it to turn it on, it does take a few minutes to load up, but as long as you've pushed it and you see it start to glow, just hold pause and it will start up. Okay. Now, you might be familiar with this symbol right here. Looks like a pair of headphones. So that is the universal symbol for headphones, and we call this the headphone jack. So that's where you plug in your computer so that plug in your headphones so that you can listen to your videos, your music, and no one else around you needs to hear. It's in different places on different computers. This is an image of a laptop where it's on the side. On the computer that you're at right now, it might be down in the front on the system unit. Another piece of the hardware that's important is this little slot right here. That is called the USB port. So a USB port is a place where you can connect things to the computer. We'll talk in a moment about different kinds of things you might want to connect. But you might be familiar with this because it's where you plug in your phone charging cord to then charge your phone. What I want you to walk away with is the knowledge that this symbol represents the USB port, and so this symbol tells you where you can plug most things into your computer. These are a couple of examples of things that you might plug into your computer. These are all storage devices. So this first one that I'm circling here, that is called a USB flash drive. USB flash drive is a small storage device. You can store things like music, Word documents, or photos. And the benefit of it is that it's very small and portable. One really useful thing to do is to save your resume on a USB flash drive. Once you have something saved on that, you can plug it into any computer and pull it up. So with your resume, you could pull it up on any computer to then maybe print it or send it away to apply for jobs. The next one right here, this is the internal hard drive. So that's the storage device that's already in your computer. You can't see it. It's in the system unit, and that's what stores everything in your computer. Like anything, storage devices have space limits. So this last one is called an external hard drive, and that is really useful when your computer maybe runs out of space or you want to store a lot of items that you don't have space for on the computer. This is an additional hard drive that you can keep outside your computer, and you can store additional information on it. Now, everything that you can connect to your computer can be categorized as either an input device or an output device. Input devices are things, obviously, that give information to your computer. Output devices are things that take information out of your computer. So I've got a list of things over on the side here. I'm going to move my head so that you can see the whole thing. And take a moment to look through that list. You can pause the video and decide, is this an input or an output device? When you unpause the video and come back, can give you the answers right here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but to highlight a couple of examples. A keyboard is an input device because you are typing and giving information to the computer. Below that, speakers are absolutely output devices because speakers are giving you sound and noise and information that's coming from the computer out. Something like a cell phone, everyone's familiar with that, can be both. Your cell phone can be attached to the computer to upload photos, videos, or information, and in that sense, it is giving information to your computer. You can also connect your phone to the computer and put information from the computer onto your phone, like downloading music. So in that way, a cell phone can actually function as both input and output. All right. So this that you see behind me with the logo in the background on that blue screen, that is the desktop. The desktop is your home screen. It's kind of like your home base. There are a couple of components here. We're going to go through each one in a little bit more detail in a moment. But just to give you the words, so this button down here at the bottom left corner, that is the start button. These along the side are shortcuts. This blue bar along the bottom is the taskbar. And this right here is a tab. So like I said, we're going to go through these in a little bit more detail, starting with, and yes, the date and time can be found bottom right corner. The desktop shortcuts. So the desktop shortcuts are right there. They are icons that represent shortcuts to different programs or applications, useful for things that you might use very often that you want quick, easy access to. And in order to open them, you would double click on them. We have another video later on that will walk you through using the mouse and double clicking. So if you don't know how to do that, don't worry. Just to give you a sense of some different common desktop icons, this right here is an example of an application icon. An application icon is going to look different depending on the logo. So this right here is the Google Chrome logo. This is the Microsoft Excel logo. They'll be different. This right here is a folder icon. It looks exactly like a real folder in real life. And then this is an example of a file icon. There are different types of files, but most file icons look like a sheet of paper. And this, you can see with the logo, is a Microsoft Word file. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, this button on the bottom left corner of your screen looks like a little Windows logo. That's your Start button. That is where you would go on your computer to get access to everything. Your applications, your files, your folders. If you're looking for something, it's a good starting point. And to go back for a moment, over on the right here, when you hit the Start button, you'll see a button come up that says Computer. If you click on that, it gives you an overview of everything that is connected to your computer at that point, right? Because we spoke earlier about all these things you can connect to your computer, like your phone and printers and other storage devices. So if you want to find those things that are connected to your computer, you open up that computer button. And for example, on this computer, you can see that there's an Apple iPhone connected. So if I wanted to access information on that iPhone, this is where I would come and click. Now, tabs and taskbar. So the taskbar is along the bottom. You'll see it surrounded by red right now. And you'll see several different tabs on there. When you're on your computer, you can be doing many different tasks at once, and the taskbar keeps track of those. So it keeps a tab for each different task that you're working on, nicely lined up along the bottom so that you can easily click back and forth between them. It's also nice so that you don't have too many things open at once. You can actually minimize things down to the taskbar, and in a moment I'll go over how to do that. So you can see that you see the tabs along the bottom of the screen, but if each one of those tabs were open, you would see something like the image on the right, which is just a lot of different things going on. The taskbar is a nice place to organize different things that you're doing. So I've mentioned Windows. So each time that you click on an application in your computer, you can access that application through a window that will pop up. There are different types of windows, but each type of window has a couple of common elements, things that all windows have. So most windows, when you go up to the top right corner, you'll find something that looks a little bit like this. And there are 3 buttons that are really useful to know about. The first one, which is this little bar, is the Minimize button. So when you click on that button, it's going to bring your whole window down to the taskbar. So maybe you're not using it right now, it'll bring it down so you can come back to it later. That's Minimize. This button right here, that's the Maximize button, that little square. So if you click on that, that's going to take your window and make it fill up the entire screen. Once you click on that Maximize button, it will turn into this button, which is the 2 squares. If you click on that, it will restore down. That's the Restore Down button, and it will come down to a smaller size. And the final button, maybe the most important, is the X right here. That will close out the window that you're working on. Okay, so thank you for sticking with me through that video. That was a lot of information. You can come back and watch this video at any point if you want to review and learn the material again. But when you're ready, what I'd like you to do is close this window, go back to the Google Classroom page and to the classwork part, and select the Lesson 1 Part 1 assessment. You'll take a brief quiz, just 5 questions to show that you watched the video and that you understood the information. Okay, thank you for watching.